So good morning, October the 27th, 2014, CISG114, Section 2, Web Technology. Tonight, today is date number 19 in week number 10. So let's get started. So good morning, welcome back to today's class, CISG114, Section 2. So day number 19 into week number 10. To begin with, allow me to remind you, there is a score in the semester I do not want you to miss. This is called the Learn to Learn score, okay? The Learn to Learn score will occupy 15% of your final 100% score. And the way to earn the 15% is very simple. This is the 10th week. If you look at the syllabus said it is expected that you will complete one journal per week on a specific topic selected from that week's reading list. That means after this week, for those of you who have been keeping up this habit of learning, you should have done 10 journals, 10 specific sets of OIA on 10 possible topics, selected one per week's reading list. Okay? And if you have already done that, based on the OIA format, you should have earned 10 points out of the 15 points for that Learn to Learn score. And once you have done that 10 OIA set, you are invited to select 5 out of these 10 OIA journals and write 5 individual reflective blogs on the 10 specific topics. Okay? Well, after you've done the 5 blogs, okay, then you can earn 5 more points out of the 15 points. And that is very important. Okay? This is called a Learn to Learn habits of learning with 15%. Now, how do I know if you have already done that? You are going to create your personal learning portfolio, and that will be created on top of the specific wiki on the Moodle environment. So you are supposed to create one page on your individual learning portfolio, which I'm going to tell you more next week. On that page, that is your Learn to Learn score. When I enter your Learn to Learn score page, I should be able to see 10 individual journals, okay? That means 10 specific set of OIA and 5 individual reflective blogs. 5 of these are selected from the 10 possible topics. So that way, you could be sure to have 15% of your final 100% score earned. Now, another score which I have been reminding you week after week is your in-class participation score. That is 20% of your final 100%. When I enter your learning portfolio page, which you're going to enter after next week, I should be able to see another link to a page called in-class participation score. And when I enter your in-class participation score page, I should be able to see 10 sets of in-class participation record. Actually, it could be 10 specific links. And so when I click into that link, you should put there the time and date of your in-class participations together with a YouTube video link that I put on top for after each class. Now, when I see 10 specific records there, I will give 2 points per record, and then you will earn 20% of your in-class participation score. And that is a lot of score because with 20% in-class participation score, with the 15% of Learn to Learn score, you have 35% earned, and that is something you earned towards the semesters. And then you will have midterm exam, 15%, which will be scheduled around November the 8th, the week after November the 8th, and that will be 15%. And then each of the 3 learning contract will give you 10%. All right? So it's 45% plus 30, is 45% plus 35%, and then what's left is 20% of the learning portfolio score. Okay? So in your learning portfolio, you're going to, and I give you a little bit of learning portfolio stuff, you are going to select 4 silos out of the 6 possible silos of this course. Now, actually, you have already selected, or better say, experienced the silo. In the second learning contract, you should have select 2. And in the third learning contract, another 2. So each one of you should have some experience working with at least 4 silos out of the 6 silos in this course. Then you need to consider what kind of artifacts you're going to provide to support the fact that you are able to accomplish the 4 selected silos in your individual learning portfolio. And the individual learning portfolio could earn you up to 20% of the semester score, and that will make up the 100% score. Now for the individual teams of peer who would like to have some bonus project to catch up your score, I will inform you a little bit more about the bonus project after the end of the third learning contract, okay? So this is a very small amount of information I can give you to remind you that you should be able to catch up to earn your score the way it's supposed to be, because this is the 10th week of the semester. And if you look at the syllabus, at the end of this 10th week, if you have been keeping up with your habit of learning, you should have done 10 individual journals on your own. And you can use that 10 individual journals to claim your 10% of the learn-to-learn score. And then, if you write another 5 blogs, each one of these is based on the topic, the 10 individual journals topic, you can earn the other 5 points. That is the 15% of the learn-to-learn score. It should not be too difficult for you to get that 15%. This basically is a design exercise to help you develop the habit of learning that is expected in this course. Now, I do not want to put a lot of emphasis on summative assessment, but you do have a midterm exam, which you're going to do it for 75 minutes or up to 90 minutes to do your journals, to do your peer-based discussions, and also to do your blog, all right? So that will be scheduled in the week after November the 8th, all right? So I have just given you a very interesting topic here. I said, any team who would like to design, who would like to do the sharing today or on Thursday, please sign up through this link, okay? So those teams who sign up here will be given priority to come down here to do the sharing. And that is a very precious opportunity for you to earn the in-class participation score, okay? You need 10 times in-class participation to earn the full 20% score, okay? Remember that. And you need to count the number of times you're given. Now this is 1 week. Next week will be another week. So 4 times. Okay, after next week, it will be the individual learning portfolio time. Well, I will still give you the time to do the sharings, but not as frequently as this learning contract, because we still have a lot of other bonus projects to take care of. Okay, so help yourself to fill up your team number here. If not, and I'm going to do lucky draw game, I reserve time for 4 teams to share in every class. All right, now let's come back to a very important topic we cannot afford to finish last week. Relatively recently in Hong Kong, we have witnessed some kind of very interesting people's movement. And in the process of witnessing those people's movement, we learned the terms anonymous. Okay, anonymous is the name of a hackers group. Well, you can say it's worldwide. And so we would like to give you some background information on anonymous. And actually, anonymous represents a new kind of people movement. We call it hacktivism. All right, hacktivism is that kind of movement that is characterized by a lack of central leadership. But it's very interesting to look at that. Now, in the process of doing that, we have about an hour documentary, but I cannot show you an hour. We cannot afford to do that. But you can watch it whole at home. In a minute, I'm going to play you 30 minutes of this documentary to introduce to you some background on this anonymous group. Okay, it helps you to get up to date on what technologies, mobile technologies, can help sped up this kind of movement. But watch out, since it's a documentary, it contains a lot of the interviews, and the interviews of those hackers group, and it contains a lot of the F language. Okay, so bear with it. Okay, it's a very interesting interview. sharing today, and if there is no team who have done this, I'm going to do a lucky for you. All right? Forgive me for a little bit of the co-inference today. All right, so let's go for this.
The computer hacker group Anonymous is claiming tonight that it took down the website of the Federal Appeals Court in San Francisco this afternoon.
They took down Senate.gov servers, they've taken down HB Gary. Sony's claiming they did $150 million worth of damage.
So many confidential files that tonight, because of these hackers, can be in the hands of anyone.
Visa, MasterCard, the PayPal situation.
The criminals who hacked into Sarah Palin's private email.
The Church of Scientology says Anonymous is a cyber terrorist group of religious bigots.
Anonymous and this other group called LulzSec. They seem to be wanting to prove a point.
Anonymous kind of was like the big, strong, buff kid who had low self-esteem. And then all of a sudden punched somebody in the face and was like, holy shit, I'm really strong. And Anonymous calls itself the final boss of the internet. And sometimes it proves to be really fucking true. You are going to violate the freedoms of the internet, you certainly better watch the fuck out.
They are kind of the rude boys of activism. There's a real rough edge to them, which I think also is one reason why they garner so much love and hate from people too. They represent a certain sort of chaotic freedom.
Individual, young, nameless, faceless folks are having geopolitical impact. I mean, it's both exhilarating to realize that and terrifying to realize that. It kind of depends on how that power is wielded.
Stand for freedom, stand for freedom of speech, the power of the people, the ability for them to protest against the government, to right wrongs, no censorship, especially online, but also in real life. We have members throughout society and all stratas of it worldwide. Yet we have no leadership. It's one voice. It's not individual voices. That's why we don't show our faces. That's why we don't give our names. We're speaking as one, and it's a collective. Good time.
I would love to live in a country where the government fears its citizens and not the other way around. But right now, plenty of anonymous actors are in hiding because of fear of reprisals by the government. I've been called many things. There's unpatriotic.
That we're just a bunch of children sitting in our parents' basement.
I got called a terrorist sympathizer. We've been called kids, we've been called cyberbullies, we've been called hooligans, and sometimes those words aren't entirely unfair, but this is a serious political movement.
No one, in the general public really seems to get it. What they don't seem to get is that the ability for Anonymous to be everything and anything is its power.
Anonymous is a series of relationships. Hundreds and hundreds of people who are very active in it, and who have varying skill sets, and who have varying issues they want to advance, and who are collaborating in different ways each day.
They're a little bit like a prism or a kaleidoscope. They've got many different facets and many different sides. Of course, when you spend enough time with them, you start to get a sort of feel or texture that's not just random, right? Yet it's very multifaceted, very rich, which does span from the quite lighthearted to the very, very serious.
Bob Dylan had a line in a song just saying, to live outside the law, you must be honest. They might do something which isn't technically correct, maybe it's not legally correct, but they're doing it for purposes that in their minds at least are ethical.
People who know what they're doing, who share an ethos, who have a commitment to exposing and humiliating the man, who have a very low tolerance of lies and what they perceive as evil on the part of overweening power structures. They share information, they share tools and techniques, and they are currently having a very good time.
The hacker culture, as we know it, really sprang from one place. It was MIT, and it was specifically the people in the Model Railroad Club, the Tech Model Railroad Club.
Hacking originated as humorous pranks. When the guys at MIT put a Volkswagen up on top of the dome of the building, and people woke up and saw the car up there in the morning, or they measured a bridge by the body lengths of somebody. I would say his name was Brian, and discovered the bridge over the Charles River was, 822 Brians. These are funny things. That's where hacking originated and migrated into engineering and computer communities. It's witty, it's pranks.
I'm Chris Weishopel, former member of the Loft. We don't necessarily say hacking group because it makes it sound like we're hacking, so we used to call it a hackers think tank. Hacktivism was a term coined by a group called Cult of the Dead Cow. The Cult of the Dead Cow was really kind of sort of like a propaganda type of organization. They had a guy who's the minister of propaganda. They're kind of merry pranksters. Like everything they did was completely over the top. One of the guys there coined the term hacktivism because he saw one of the things his group was doing, which he called hacktivism, was writing software that people in other countries could use to communicate securely, even if their government was spying on them. So the principle was really, it was freedom of expression. It was everyone should have access to the internet. Everyone should be able to communicate and get their message out on the internet. Even more important in countries where there was repressive regimes, that if you said something against the regime, they would come and take you away, and you weren't saying it anymore. Just like in traditional activism, it spans the full gamut from sit-ins or pickets to actually spiking trees and pouring sand in the engines of construction vehicles. I mean, there's real sabotage. The same thing does all fall under the hacktivism label. There is a spectrum.
There's sometimes a strong anarchist flavor to it as well. It's resistance to authority and those who would impose groupthink and group behavior on people, which was rightly perceived to be a consequence of the digital revolution, as it was used by people in power to do hacking on behalf of righteousness and to redress the grievances of the world. Lance lowered Don Quixote on his horse, nag though she was, flying at the windmills of modern life.
Anonymous grew out of what's known as 4chan. And essentially this is just a website where people can upload images and you don't actually give your name, it's just sort of anonymous.
When you look at 4chan, you're often surprised because it looks like a site from like 1995 or something. The idea is very simply you post a comment and you post a picture. And you can post under your name or anonymously. And it's separated into boards about particular topics. So there's a topic on anime, there's a topic on weaponry.
There's like a 4chan board for origami, and you just upload interesting pictures of origami. And then there was a group called the B board, which essentially was for like anything goes.
The first time anybody goes on B, it's kind of an instant revulsion. Because there's never a time that you go on there where you don't see something horrible. That instantly puts off a lot of people.
The idea is post something that can never be unseen. Half of the posts on B are there specifically to make people not want to come back to B.
It's what you get when people are allowed to express themselves with absolutely no restriction whatsoever. It's the kind of sum of human imagination, and people can get together and think together without any limits or parameters.
It's the most vile, disgusting, and funny thing on the internet.
One of the important things about 4chan is to have a thread that really explodes and lasts for a long time. If it doesn't, then it disappears. It's a site that's not archived. So it creates conditions for anything that grabs attention at some level. And so humor and grotesqueness as a result are quite good for that.
I'd rather just be referred to as anonymous, I guess, in any interviews, because I have some docs out on me. 4chan is just where I went to. I grew up on it, and I lived there. It's just what I did. It's fun. It takes a thick skin to enjoy it. But, you know, as long as you're not offended, you'll occasionally come to something really cool or really creative on 4chan. I think the most interesting thing about it is how you can watch memes evolve. You'll see something posted one day, and then a week later it's got 50,000 remembrance of it. Meme is basically just an idea. It's kind of like a gene, but in the realm of the idea.
A lot of the great internet memes that we all know and love, you know, lol cats, right? You know, little cats doing funny things, and then they have, you know, Icon has cheeseburger, right? All that stuff seems to start in this like petri dish that is 4chan keyboard.
Say it publicly and your insane chocolate rain.
Name any meme from the last about 6 years, and I'll bet you either in its first posting ever was on 4chan, or at least one of its earliest revisions that became what it was on 4chan.
I can see the food situation is so we'll be on our way.
It's basically the best breeding ground for internet culture, and as far as I'm concerned.
With your neighborhood insurance rates, chocolate rain.
4chan is also very known for acts of trolling.
Trolling is a fucking art. Trolling is getting the person you're talking to get as pissed off as they possibly can, and for no reason except for your own enjoyment. Maybe you're trying to illustrate a point, but it's mostly for your own enjoyment.
For them, it's funny that like people think the internet is serious business, and if people think the internet is serious business, it's a troll's job to make their life terrible.
The idea of anonymous came initially as a joke. I mean, somebody suggested that, what if the whole site, what if 4chan, what if B was just one person? And what if that's just one guy called Anonymous sitting somewhere, and you're just reading all these posts by one guy? And it kind of looks like that from the outsider's perspective. I mean, there's no way to tell the difference. It might as well be one guy.
Fox News did a very famous segment about it.
They call themselves anonymous. They are hackers on steroids, treating the web like a real-life video game, sacking websites, invading MySpace accounts, disrupting innocent people's lives. And if you fight back, watch out. Destroy. Die. Attack. Threats from a gang of computer hackers calling themselves anonymous.
I've had 7 different passwords and they've got them all so far.
Anonymous hacked his site and plastered it with gay sex pictures. His girlfriend left him.
She thought that I was cheating on her with guys.
As long as I can think back, Anonymous have done some pretty off-color things in the name of getting cheap laughs, you know. But, I mean, that's part of the culture.
LOLs is a corruption of LOL, which stands for laugh out loud. Anonymous gets big LOLs from pulling random pranks. For example, messing with online children's games like Habbo Hotel.
Habbo Hotel was this online community where you had an avatar and you walked around and talked to other people. It was kind of like an early version of, you know, World of Warcraft or Second Life or any of those virtual worlds. What the people on B did was invade Habbo Hotel, created, you know, thousands of avatars. They all had this one uniform of a black guy with a big afro, wearing a black suit. And so there would be thousands of these people, black guys, black suit, you know, huge afro, walking around this world, and they would do things like form a swastika out of themselves. And I think that was a real landmark because it was when they were able to see that, you know, they can use their numbers to do something really interesting and really disruptive.
So we blocked the entrance to their pool, and that just pissed them off so fucking much. It was fucking beautiful. That was fucking just wonderful. Wonderful times. Those kids love that pool. They love the shit out of their pool.
The goal was actually to offend everyone, simply because the idea that we could offend you by drawing a little shape on the screen was stupid to the people involved in it. They were like, really, you're going to get that mad over us just drawing this on the screen? Wow, well, you need to refocus a little on life, because this should not be upsetting you that much.
All these different organizations online, whether it's 4chan, or just any website, there's typically a community aspect to it. This is where people have their social relationships. This is where their friends are. This is where they have a creative outlet. And so all those aspects are going into groups like Anonymous, where people feel like they're part of a bigger thing and they're able to express themselves within that group.
There were certain words, certain phrases, certain ways people would respond to things, certain images that were posted that created a pattern, and that pattern was, I guess, the origin of what is now Anonymous.
It's like Freemasons with a sense of humor. And so much they have this common symbology, and one of their chief joys, which is kind of wrapped up in power and secrecy, was the fact that they could recognize each other by referencing these symbols, referencing these phrases. Over 9,000.
It's over 9,000!
I lost my iPod. Mudkips, anything involving mudkips. So you have this weird sort of international culture developing with people, across the world, wherever they may be.
In late 06 and into early 07, there's a bit of a sea change where instead of just posting a bunch of content or randomly saying we're going to go over to some website and post a bunch of dirty comments against someone, it becomes a little more organized.
Welcome to the Hal Turner Show!
They went after a guy named Hal Turner.
They're being discriminated against because I'm white.
Hal Turner was a neo-Nazi who was big online and had a podcast.
I think that the 14th Amendment was not ratified properly, and I think therefore it is still okay to have Negroes as slaves in America.
The first time I heard about Hal Turner is he was knocking somebody on 4chan. There's a million neo-Nazis out there. But he started picking on our dude, so we had to go to our dude's fucking defense, and it just so happened that he was a neo-Nazi, so that's a bigger reason that he's a fucking dickface.
Why are you calling from?
Hola, this is Pedro.
Spit, don't call.
Diego.
He was just a horribly racist radio personality who seemed to handle it well when you called in. Like, he could handle being berated by Anonymous. And that made it very interesting. It made it a bit of a challenge. It wasn't some guy who just either crumbled or stopped answering the phone. It was a guy who would yell back.
Hal Turner wasn't the first actual person that Anonymous caused trouble for, but the circumstances ended up being significant. They DDoS'd his website, stuff like that, costing him thousands of dollars, bandwidth fees.
Denial of service has been around for a long, long time. It's the equivalent of if you, for some reason wanted to disrupt a bus service, right? You can hire 1,000 extras to all go and line up at the bus station, right, and get on the bus. And so that anyone who was really trying to get on the bus couldn't do it, right? It's as simple as that. And when you stop trying to visit, website goes back up, no permanent damage.
We DDoSed him, and then we kind of trolled him in real life. We sent countless pizzas to his house. We signed him up for escorts on Craigslist. We sent a bunch of pallets of industrial materials to his house, which he ultimately had to foot the bill for. And basically we destroyed his ability to pay for his radio show, and that took him off the internet.
And then they ended up getting some real hackers to help them out. Like, this wasn't sort of pranks. They actually were able to get into Hal Turner's private servers and his mail servers, and find some interesting emails that he was serving as an FBI informant, which if you're a right-wing neo-Nazi, is not a good thing to be.
And obviously him being an FBI informant, and also his reaction, his sort of douchebaggy reaction to the raids, damaged his credibility within the white nationalist scene, which is a shame.
Hal Turner's gone, he's been prosecuted by the feds for threatening judges.
What follows is a period of confusion and anger in which the original Anonymous people, the sort who want to keep Anonymous as this nihilist little, ridiculous group, are upset that now, that the most terrible thing on the internet is now becoming a force for good all of a sudden.
I'm Mike Vitale, and my handle's Seth Dude. Now, this is January 2008. Anonymous is strong now. We're not a little dinky fucking group anymore. This is millions of people worldwide, and we're watching. And then Scientology stepped in with a big target on its chest.
A video came out of Tom Cruise. It was supposed to be an internal Scientology video, talking about secrets of Scientology.
Being a Scientologist, when you drive past an accident, it's not like anyone else.
as you drive past, you know you have to do something about it because you know you're the only one that can really help.
It talks about you're the only one who can stop, bad things from happening, and so this is kind of widely mocked online.
It circulated like wildfire.
Instantly, the Scientologists post a DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And this is a way that if you own content, you can go to video sites, upload sites, and have your content pulled when someone uploads it illegally.
So Scientology's always at odds with the internet, always trying to legally bully people out of fucking them over on the internet. They always did that. And then here they are trying again, but you know what? Anonymous saw that, and they said, oh, you guys just fucked around badly. Like, you're trying to censor our internet. Like, you're trying to take a joke away from Anonymous. Like, you don't do that.
A few Anons, a few people on 4chan posted, hey, we should grab that video and post it on a few other sites.
What followed was, this is a term called the Barbra Streisand effect. And this video, as they were attempting to suppress it, went everywhere. Like, everywhere you look on the internet, you were gonna stumble upon this video.
Actually, Gawker, the site that I worked for, was, I think, the first one to put it on the website, and we got in a huge legal battle with Scientology, who wanted us to take it down.
Scientology is an interesting target because in some ways it's the perfect inversion of what geeks and hackers value. At so many different levels: science fiction, intellectual property, discourses of freedom, science and technology. It's very proprietary, it's closed. And so in some ways, if you had something like a cultural inversion machine and you stuck geeks and hackers in there, you get something that looks a lot like Scientology. So it's quite offensive, and there's a real pleasure in attacking your perfect nemesis.
And people who knew what Anonymous was to begin with were like, oh my god, Anonymous is going to go to war with Scientology. This should be really interesting. Especially because it's two weird-ass groups. I mean, I've been an Anon for a long fucking time. I know Anonymous is really strange. They're weird, and the stuff we like is weird, and it's really not mainstream at all. Now you have Scientology. Also really weird, a lot of crazy shit goes down. Anybody on the outside who's seeing this is going, let's watch these two retards fight. Like, both their pants are gonna fall down, they're gonna triple, and it's gonna hurt everybody, and it's gonna be hysterical.
And then that's when 4chan kind of reared into action, really reared into action. And they started to troll the Church of Scientology. And this took the form of pranking the Dianetics hotline, ordering pizzas.
I go to call them on the phone and it's busy. And that's their main fucking Dianetics hotline. Their Dianetics 800 number, you can't get through because Anons have completely fucking clogged it. And just probably saying stupid shit. The whole idea was just you call them just to keep them on the phone. Listen, Ilron, how do I Dianetics my face? They were not expecting that. And they couldn't handle it.
I'm Brian Mettenbrink. I had just gone to 4chan just on pure happenstance, and I saw a post about a Scientology thing, and I started looking up stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is actually for a decent cause. I think I'll, do this.
Anonymous members have developed a distributed denial of service attack tool called Low Orbit Ion Cannon, which is the name taken from a computer game.
Low Orbit Ion Cannon is what's called an end game weapon in Red Alert. All you had to do was literally follow instructions, step by step.
You do is you put in the site, you see that the IP is correct, you make sure that all these settings are good, and you hit the button, and off it goes.
And what it does is it tells Scientology.org in this case, it tells them to send their website to my computer about, I think it was 800,000 times in a weekend, and I'm pretty sure I probably took it down myself a couple of times. It felt like you were making a difference, just you yourself, and you didn't even have to leave your home,
And one of the guys said, we need to make a video. We have to make a video.
Hello, leaders of Scientology. We are Anonymous.
When the video came out on January 21st, that was one of the first times that Anonymous, as a culture, started referring to itself as Anonymous as a movement. That video probably changed everything.
We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
It basically looked like if a computer was going to tell you that he was going to beat the shit out of you, this is what it would look like.
That one video really galvanized that moment of innovation. That's exactly like with that video, internet activism, as it's known today, was born.
And you just see this consensus forming that it's going to happen. So we made the code of conduct. Don't bring weapons. Dress accordingly. Cover your faces, because they will try to find out who you are and screw with your life.
Rule number 17. Cover your face. This will prevent your identification from videos taken by hostiles.
Scientology has a history of harassing, stalking, and just generally doing horrible things to its critics. So people needed a way to hide their identities. A lot of people had very legitimate fears. They don't want to be followed home. They don't want to be stalked. They don't want to put their families and themselves in danger.
Everyone was going, well, we're going to wear a mask. What's the only fucking mask that we all already know or have a joke about? And it's the Guy Fawkes mask. You see the movie V for Vendetta, the ending scene where everyone's wearing a Guy Fawkes mask. That is very reminiscent of what Anonymous thinks Anonymous is. We wanted to represent anonymity in some way when it moved into real life. I think that the Guy Fawkes mask was one of the most natural things to happen. It is the idea that none of us are as cruel as all of us. You have this massive crowd of people who are anonymous that is going to fight against a bigger thing and win.
Even after watching the video, it's like, yeah, this is great, but who's actually gonna do it? Who's gonna step up? Are people actually gonna get out of their house? And I guess we were really affected by the stereotype of that whole community, the being internet nerds, too afraid to leave their mom's basements.
No one thought they were gonna come out.
This is me on the way there. I haven't slept. I'm very fucking tired.
And I remember going to the park that day, and it's really fucking early in the morning, which I thought was a bad idea. And I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm looking around like, where the fuck is everybody? There's nobody here.
So here I am, sitting in blind court. Waiting for the other announcers to show up.
I remember thinking like, oh fuck, like, am I gonna be the only one in the park? Am I gonna walk to Scientology with fucking 6 or 7 people? Which totally defeats the entire purpose of this, because now they could single me out, you know? Then I get up and I start walking around and I see there's a lot of green balloons over there for some reason. On the other side of the park, there was like fucking 200 people. There was Guy Fawkes masks everywhere, and I'm like, holy shit, this is huge!
There's a fucking lot of us. That's pretty good. I had no idea how many around there were until we started moving.
And it just fucking got bigger. I remember walking through Times Square, and everybody in Times Square was in a knot. Like, and you know, this is like a fucking 1,000 person per like fucking minute foot traffic area, and everywhere I'm looking, I'm seeing fucking Anon symbols. It was fucking wild. It was really wild.
So we start getting numbers in. And Sydney, we're thinking that it's going to be 50 people. And before 10 a.m., before even time, there's already 50 people there. And there's still streams of people walking down the streets. A couple hours into it, you know, because I had to go to bed until 1 in the morning, you know, you're looking at Sydney as, wow, there's 250 people in Sydney. The cops are estimating higher than that for their reports. What just happened? Adelaide, Perth, and Melbourne happened. And, you know, over 200 in each of them. And we nearly broke 1,000 leaving Australia. Now, the next protest was Tel Aviv, which had actually gotten its first Scientology building right before this. There were Palestinians and Israelis at this protest, both holding their flags. And at one point, they actually switched flags and held up each other's flags and whatnot. It was awesome to see. I call our guy in London, Brennan, and I say, hey, what's going on there? And he's like, did you just get out of bed? I said, yeah, I didn't turn on the computer. I just figured I'd call you. And he said, we've got 600 people, and the cops are really, really mad at me.
All the major cities were having hundreds of people come out. Massive. Clearwater had like 300 people. I don't think anyone beat out LA. I think LA had over 1,000 people.
The thing that happened was something completely different, and hundreds of people from every city just swarmed the streets. It was kind of overwhelming, a little even scary, but scary in a good way.
Soon, we're at around the 10,000 mark, and we were joking the whole time, over 9,000, one of those memes. It was too surreal. It was not believable.
We go by one name.
We are anonymous.
It was very empowering, especially after people saw thousands of people showing up. This was it. We owned the world at that point.
We all met each other. The idea of an anon is you're fucking alone until you get to 4chan. And then these people all think like you. And all of a sudden you're not alone. You are with fucking 500 others. They all know the same jokes as you. They all clearly have similar interests as you. Here's your culture. You meet your own people finally.
It's perhaps a little surprising. It's not just preteens or teenagers. There's a far more even mix of males and females than you would imagine otherwise.
And there were a lot of these so-called guys who weren't socially good. They were very awkward. They still lived at home at 23, half of them virgins. And I'll tell you, the amount of those people who got laid from these protests happening is in the thousands that would not have for years probably.
That's why those protests were so important. It was a chance to finally meet other people that were previously anonymous and unknown, and hence it was the moment of the end of their anonymity.
So I'm going to leave you right here and let you watch the remaining 30 minutes at home. There's a link in our week number 10's course resource. Now with that video, you know some background about an anonymous group, and they became famous, of course, in a couple of weeks in Hong Kong. And they attacked the government site, they attacked a lot of the very interesting sites, including the central government. Well, you know that. The reasons why it's important because with that background, it comes from the possibility of technologies to pull people together, and becomes famous because of the collective actions. It's all these and something to do with the web technology that now okay? So I also saw this video in my other class, information security and behind the scenes, also very important. Now you see that the two major campaign they launched and to become famous, it's one of the major campaigns they did something to go against Scientology's cults in the United States and also worldwide today, and they got famous. So what are you going to learn from this? If you look at the one of the course intended learning outcomes of this course, we talk about that how are you going to conduct this course on the importance of minorities in our life. And I think this is quite an example. It was a group of people, not well organized, without much of a central control, but they did something together. Well, when we go back to look at what's happening in Hong Kong these days, when they organize this kind of movement, a people's movement in different sites, and one of the characteristics is also they make the best use of the technology. They do not have any clear central leaderships. And one thing about this is very incumbent. Now, I'm not going to add any more of my personal comments here. I would like to let you do it on your own in case you select this topic in your learning portfolio. And I think there are many other videos that could help you understand it a bit more. Okay? So, may I just go back to the questions here to see if any team can sign up? Okay, that's good. We have 2 teams sign up. And I'm going to give you time here, team number 7 and team number 2. So team number 7 come up first and team number 2 second. We have excellent microphones ever since Nuzwick. So are you ready, team number 7? Are you here, team number 7? All right. All right, I give you the time. Thank you. turn on the microphone. Turn on the microphone. Just push the button. Yes, turn it on. Yeah.
Well, this is our first meeting minute in the Learning Control 3. I'm the coordinator and secretary, and Margaret is the leader and coordinator. Ivy is inspector and coordinator. Jack is the communicator and coordinator. In the first meeting minute, we talk about something, our pair topic. Ivy and I choose the topic, what is e-learning, as our Learning Control 3 pair topic. First, we search some links and videos about what is e-learning and some examples of the e-learning. And the second, we search something about how e-learning supports us and how to use the e-learning in our daily life.
And we exchanged our ideas about the topic and discussed the benefits and advantages about it. And we finally talked about how to use e-learning in the education area and academic areas. And at last, we read the videos and the readings again to have overall concept about it.
So same as we talked before, we have chose two zero. One is 005 and one is 006. And 005 is talk about the differentiate the application context of e-learning for course management. And 006 is talk about what qualitatively as part of a team and communicate and present information effectively in written, oral, and electronic form in a collaborative environment.
I believe all of you are using the Moodle in our study. So here there are some drawbacks and benefits of the Moodle. I'm not sure whether all these benefits and drawbacks happen in Moodle, but this is Moodle for the whole. So for the pros, there are open source, great community, and customizable. Moreover, Moodles are also widely available. There are many contents and which are familiar for us. However, for the drawbacks of Moodle, since every one of us can edit it, so there are some problem in the user management. Just take this wiki as an example. If 4 of us have used to edit the layout of the wiki, then maybe each one of us don't know whether the other want to express what they want to express. And close it. Sorry, a minute. Oh. Maybe there are further information. Maybe we'll present next time. So our sharing this time is done. Thank you.
Okay, Margaret, anything more is going to be shown by both Jack and the other partner?
Yes, excuse me, pardon.
Next time for Jack and the other partner? Do you want to give a portion of the time to the members like Jack?
Do you want to share your business style?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So this is team 7, and may I invite team number 2? Yes, pick up the microphone, please. Please lock out my page.
Good morning, everyone. We are Team 2. Let's introduce our member. I'm Beatrice. I'm coordinator. He is secretary. He is Calvin. He is inspector, and CISG is communicator. So let's see our team wiki. We put these 2 styles on the wiki for us to make clearly and sure what these 2 styles do. So we highlight the information and then we put our individual proposal here for everyone to can download to see what is about everyone's proposal. And so I also put the teacher's message week 8 and week 9 for us to more convenient. No need to go back to see the teacher's message. So now let's see.
Well, as a communicator, I also highlight some teachers' message that I thought is important for us, and so our members can easily see the important message on the teacher message link that we could have put it on, and this will come my partners to share the team meeting.
Hi everyone, I'm Stanley. Let me show you our meeting minutes. We have a meeting, group meeting in in Tuesday of last year. Last week. Sorry, I'm sorry. Last week.
It's okay. It's okay.
We start in Saturday of last week in 3 p.m. First, we start a discussion where which CEO we choose, style we choose, and then at the end we agree to choose the style number 2 and style number 4. We think that they are more easier and we have a clear idea to know what we should do. After that, after the style we choose, we need to share our individual proposal and Richard's proposal is about what is ethics in the information age. CC's proposal is about what is digital divide. My proposal is about what is information privacy, and Kelvin's proposal is about what is information literacy. And then parents' proposal is about what is blog, and pair 15's proposal is about what is photo sharing. Let Kelvin to continue.
After all the sharing, we start to vote and to choose which proposal is suitable for us for the silos. At the end, we choose my proposal, which is what is in the information literacy, and so we start to focus on the non-learning contract number 3. And we discuss come out conclusion that pair 1 will do the silo number 2 and my pair will do the silo number 4.
And for the specific work, the work and me and Beatrice have already done something on the cycles too, and here is what we've done, and something we haven't put it on the Google document, which is the signals too, and which is compared to tools for the search and communication. So we choose the Google and the wiki of the model. And in the aspect of the searching, we can easily see that on the front page of Google is just the search. And but as for the wiki, it's only a search wiki, a little title on the top of the wiki, and that's so far we've done. Here is what I just mentioned, the search wikis, so that we can the search function of this tool, and I also linked this document here so that the other people can link it and download that document. That's all, thank you.
Thank you very much for your work in progress. Yes, it's very important for you to choose your proposals or create changes in your selected proposals based on your understanding of the requirements from the selected silos. And I have been informed that through talking to many of you that you have done some good changes in your selected proposals because of the understanding of the silos. Okay, so let's see, do we have other teams who would like to share with us? Let's see, I need to mark it first. We could accommodate 4 teams each time, and these are very precious time for you to do the sharing because you use them So let's come back to the attendance call first, and then I will try to do the lucky draw for 2 other teams. Matrix, here, thank you. Dan, thank you. Ken, thank you. Team, thank you. Tegudos, thank you. Cindy, thank you. Patty, thank you. Ray, yes, thank you. Emily, thank you. Seapo, thank you. Selena, thank you. Stanley, thank you. Margaret, thank you. Carly, yes, thank you. Tilly, thank you. Wilson, thank you. Sue, yes, thank you. Kelvin, thank you. Cece, thank you. Mavis, thank you. Vicky, thank you. Kathy, thank you. Sydney, thank you. Julio, thank you. Jack, thank you. Benson, yes, thank you. Jeanette, thank you. Anderson, thank you. Green, thank you. Okay. Ivy. Alright. So let's see. We have some teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now could you give me a magic number? 1 to 10. Team number 1, give me a magic number. Team number 1, magic number. Just one number. Between 1 and 10. Give me one number. Between 1 and 10. Which number do you want? 2. Okay. Team number 2, give me one number. Between 1 and 4. Okay. Team number 3, give me one number. 7. Team number 4, 5. Okay. This team number 5, 6. Alright. Team number 6, 3. Team number 7, 1. Okay. Add them together. 6, 13, 18, 24, 28. Okay, right? So 28 more 5, because 2 teams are already gone. Oh no, not Mark 5. Mark 5 is not good. Is that? Mark 7 is the best. I will eliminate it. 0, right? Remainder is 0. So no good. Mark 6, remainder is 4. So team number 4, are you here? Are you here? Are you team number 4? No? Yeah. Are you ready to do the sharing? You want to give up your score? Next time? Okay. Please sign up here on first there. I'll keep you in time. Please sign up here. Alright? So 28 mod 5 is free. Team number 3. Are you here? Magic? Are you team number 3? Are you ready? Next time. So could you please sign up here? So make sure that you were given a chance on the 30, right? On 30. So both team number 3 and number 4 will be signed up on the 30th. Okay? Okay. Now, allow me to respond with some feedback of my observations today. Now, I know you're very busy during with your midterm. So when you do the learning contract number 3, all right, just like learning contract number 1 and number 2, it just give you 10% as a whole. The learning contract number 3 requires all the members in your team to do a lot of thinking about the coordinations of your problems together. You start out with 2 cycles, okay? Now, remember, there are requirements in each cycle. Now, kindly not do this. Cut off the requirement that's already studied and stated there, and only selectively select part of it. That will not do you a lot of good. And I'm afraid if I do not clarify it here, it's not good. Each cycle has paragraphs description, okay? And you must, when you select that silo, make sure you understand the requirement in the paragraph, and do not take away the requirement selectively, okay? When the silos say A, e-learning, B, e-business model, 3, e-government, that means you have to take care of them individually, okay? You cannot just say, I do e-government, I do not do e-learning or e-business model. So the idea is, you have to study the silos descriptions very carefully, okay? The descriptions of each silo. These becomes your requirement, all right? And when you have the set of requirement, the job in your team is how best to satisfy the requirements, all right? So sometimes you have to come back to the action verb, okay? Look at the actions verb. Most of these we call discuss, illustrate, explain, and study them, and also describe them. Okay? Study them very carefully and make sure when you provide evidence of your accomplishment, you can actually go to your wiki, your discussion forum, or something else, a report that will describe or that will verify that all the members in your team, or at least your team, has already done enough to demonstrate that. Okay? So that is a very interesting way to interpret the questions or the problem requirements, and how you can allocate your decisions made for the work to be done by individual members of the team. Okay? And now you do not have much opportunity to go back to learning contract number 3 after next week. Okay? So one more week to go with 3 more chances to share in class. That means 3 more chances you can claim to be your in-class participation score. Okay? Now, Karine, you have to go back and do something, because if you don't go back and do something, locally, and you can see a lot of submissions with you need to care about the scores. Alright? Just now, I will be staying here to answer questions. If you need my help, please raise your hand. Okay? Oh yes, by the way, your learning contract number 2 will mostly be completed by the end of this week. So you will have a lot of the information to go for your prep. Okay, thank you very much. See you on the first day. Make sure you try to get the chance to present, okay? It's your class participation score. Okay, that's it for today's CISG114 Section 2 Web Technology and Life. And that's it for today on day number 19 until this first day. Stay into it.